What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Round 11 podcast. It's been a while, but we're back finally. CDL is back. Lots of exciting action this weekend, and just hope everyone's staying safe. And here we are. I'm glad. Luckily, we don't live really too close to each other, so we can
We got
do
our
this.
social distancing going on.
Keep our distance right now.
James, you stay the hell away from me, mister.
I'm staying in my basement.
I'm happy that James is that far away from me in our little overlay too. You stay away.
In my basement,
Yeah, that's right.
In a different country from you guys.
All right.
You all are way too close, but nonetheless, Dallas home series was this weekend. 8 teams competing like normal, and I think we're just gonna kick things off here with a brief little recap of what happened. Not gonna go too in depth, as we're gonna talk about a few things throughout the episode, as well as our power rankings at the end. That's where it usually gets a little bit spicy, so I'm pretty excited about that. I'm feeling a little bit hostile right now, stuck in my home. So I got a lot of pent-up aggression and looking to take it out on Jesse. But Jesse, if you just kind of want to take it away, provide a small little recap for the past weekend.
First off, I can't wait to yell at you when we start talking about our power rankings because you think you're fired up. It's been a month since we've done a damn episode because we haven't been able. There's been no Call of Duty, so I'm fired up.
It's been a minute.
It's been a hot minute. I'm gonna just quickly say something that Zarin didn't say either. Even for any new viewers, obviously I'm Cruising Spaz. And then alongside me, we got Chance and we got Zarin. Welcome to the Round 11 podcast. And
sorry, again, I'm a little bit rusty. It has been a month.
It's okay, guys. Don't worry, guys. It is like 4:30 a.m. in Toronto right now where we are recording this. So
3:30 real time.
We can give Zarin a little bit of a break here. So quickly, we're just gonna recap what happened in the CDL Dallas, if we can even count that as CDL Dallas, but
yeah.
Dallas's homestead. And so we're just going to quickly go over what happened in Group A. So basically, Group A consisted of 4 teams: Florida, Toronto, Dallas, and the Los Angeles Guerrillas. Toronto beat Florida in round 1, and Dallas beat Los Angeles in round 1. Therefore, starting round 2 in the winner's side as Toronto and Dallas. Dallas lost in Toronto 3-2. Toronto looked much better this weekend.
Dallas beat Toronto 3-2.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I don't know why. It's because I'm from Toronto, you know? But Dallas beat Toronto 3-2. Toronto looked much better this weekend, besides really their last series. Florida then played Los Angeles in the losers bracket of A. Florida beating Los Angeles 3-1. Then going to our second losers bracket match our second, I guess, winners bracket match. Whoever wins this makes it out of Group A as well. And Florida actually beat Toronto for the second time they played, and they beat them 3-1. Setting up for Florida and Dallas making it out of Group A. And then Group B, we had Seattle versus Paris. Paris took that match 3-2. And then we went to Chicago versus Minnesota, where Chicago actually handled business with Minnesota. Beat them 3-0. I think it was our only 3-0.
Kind of didn't expect anything different there.
I think it was our only 3-0 of the weekend as well.
I think it was. Yeah.
And Chicago then played Paris in round 2, winners bracket. And Chicago beat Paris 3-1. Setting up for a losers bracket match with Seattle versus Minnesota. Minnesota then took the losers bracket match versus Seattle 3-2. Seattle, you guys continue to disappoint me. I'm going to just say that now. Minnesota then played Paris as Minnesota beats them 3-1, making it out of groups. So our semifinals was set up as Minnesota versus Dallas and Chicago versus Florida. And boys, was Sunday ever an upset?
I'm honestly almost pleasantly surprised that Florida. And I'd just like to point out that other than their first round loss, they won every series. I can't remember if they did finals or not, but they won every series 3-1. They didn't go to any game 5s.
Yeah, they lost. Yeah,
finals.
Yeah. First one they lost in game 5, and then after that. So clearly their goal, just don't get the damn game 5, and they're gonna win their series.
Just get online.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Honestly, what I'm most surprised about, I almost honestly thought Dallas was going to win this series, this homestead, because of it going online. Because Dallas is kind of known as online warriors, right? They have been, at least at the start of the year. We've all seen the meme of the router looking like the crown. Come on, And so I'm quite surprised that Dallas lost to Minnesota actually in semifinals 3-1. Although Minnesota looked better. in that
They-
event
they-
and that than they did earlier in the tournament. They looked a lot better on Sunday, and then
I mean, they 3-1 Dallas.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
That's not something to turn a blind eye to. Like they 3-1 Dallas, who I think most people have at like number 3 in their power rankings leading up to this event.
yeah for the most part, and then
higher.
oh, spicy. We don't need to
We'll
hear
get
about
there.
we don't need to hear about that yet though. And then
So,
sorry, go ahead.
sorry. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so the match, the map that Dallas took was they took the second S&D on Piccadilly, or the first S&D on Piccadilly, 6-1. But that was the only match that they won. The other maps were actually kind of close. It was a 250 to 222 for Minnesota on the hard point, 6-1 for Dallas on the S&D, and then the domination went 153 to 143 on Gunrunner, and then Minnesota won the Hackney Yard hard point to close of the series 250 to 196. Any thoughts on that series at all, guys?
I mean, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like a lot of people probably were expecting Dallas and Chicago to be in the finals playing against each other, and that's just based on all the brackets that I've seen on Twitter, and that's pretty much
It's
who
how I would have had it too.
Yeah. You expected the transition to online would be easier for the teams that are already better, and like we'll get more into that a little bit later. But Dallas played well. They played well. It just unfortunately wasn't enough, and they played a better Minnesota team on that given day. So
I actually did call. I called Minnesota to take that. I was still shocked that they did, but that was the upset that I called with some of my friends. I was like, I actually could see Minnesota taking that series. Obviously, we didn't know the maps and stuff, but I don't know, man. Like Minnesota is just like they are the sleeper team in the league.
yeah,
100%. Like I had them at our last power rankings in top 4, but like I still feel like even in top 4 they could go top 8 and I wouldn't be surprised. They could win an event and I wouldn't be surprised. Like they're not even inconsistent. They're just such a weird team that like you just don't know what you're gonna get out of them really. So they ended up
like keep in mind like they went to grand finals with Dallas in Los Angeles.
They've gone back to back grand finals now.
Yeah, and they in the last finals they lost 3-2. I mean, this one they got 3-1, but still to make it back to back.
They're right on the. They're basically the Gen G of last year. They're right on the cusp,
right.
And they just can't get it done in the grand finals.
They just have to step it up like 1 or 2 more notches. There.
Yeah, except they're not assholes. So that's the
Damn.
recap of this past weekend's. Yeah, no, I don't. That's a recap of this past weekend's.
It's definitely not done the recap yet, but
Oh, you didn't talk about.
we didn't talk about the Chicago or the final match.
Well,
Zaren's a little out of it, guys. We're gonna excuse him. So going into the second match of our semifinals, Florida beats Chicago 3-1. Chicago took the first hard point on Gunrunner 250 to 199. Florida then beat them 6-4 in the Piccadilly S&D, which honestly, Chicago, that had looked like that had been their best S&D for weeks. Mm-hmm. And they lose that to Florida. Fellow looked really, really good this weekend. But what I will say from what...
you mean Farrell, right?
Yeah, I meant Farrell. I don't know why I said Fellow. Farrell looked really, really good this weekend. But what I will say is, for me, the game changer on Florida this weekend was Havoc.
Yeah, Havoc really stepped it up.
Havoc, not only did he really step it up, but he stepped it up. He kind of filled in where Prestinni would normally play, where Prestinni would always go off on his own. Havoc really, really did that well, especially in hardpoint. I saw great improvement out of Florida's hardpoint this weekend simply because of Havoc's over rotations and getting spawns consistently. He was doing such a good job of it, especially if you guys go watch the 2 hardpoints in the grand finals, you guys will all see it. Like Havoc, every hardpoint that he played this weekend was running routes and doing the right thing on the map to give his teams the chance to win the maps.
He definitely filled in well for Prestinni. Like, and I think a lot of people sleep on Havoc and think of him as like an S&D kid because, I mean, stream-wise, that's kind of what he's known for, but he hasn't been doing it for the past year and a half, 2 years. And I think within that time of being on Gen G, he's really worked on kind of being that.
I think he's the IGL for that team.
That kind of, as if like karma.
Yeah, no,
kind of doing that kind of work for the team and really making improvements on that end.
And I know we're going to talk about Prestinni later, but I think the reason that that they work so well right now, or why this team is working so well, is before you had Prestinni and Havoc, who were both playing very inconsistently, and so the problem with them both playing inconsistently was that you had Havoc. You had to have either both of them going off, or you weren't going to win the map. Right now, you only have one person who's playing, and Havoc played more consistently this weekend than he did at all. And that's why they played so well this weekend. And then just to finish this, so Florida then beat them in the domination 193 to 125, and then beat Chicago in the cave hardpoint. I don't think I've seen Chicago lose a cave hardpoint yet. So,
I don't think so.
Actually, maybe I think the cave
Not that I've
hardpoint.
seen.
I think the cave hardpoint was the only map that they played in the last series against Florida that they also lost to Florida. But Florida beat them 250 to 222 in the cave hardpoint again, to take the series 3-1. Any thoughts on this series at all?
Just going back to that Havoc comment, like that's what made him so good in Advanced Warfare. He wasn't on the best team ever, like back then, and he was always a guy who would drop 40, who would drop 50 sometimes even, and just him being a nuisance around the map, and that's what made him so good in that game, and that's what's making him so good in this game, and specifically this past weekend.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
And honestly, like I'm looking at the last series now, and Florida really realistically could have 3-0'd them really bad. Like Florida outplayed Minnesota so bad in the grand final. So Florida ended up taking it 3-1, just for anybody who didn't end up seeing it this weekend. And they beat the Minnesota won the first map 250 to 241. But I think from my memory, I believe Florida kind of choked the map at the end. I think that they did have it like set up, and they lost the gunfights, and Minnesota ended up rotating early and taking like whatever the last hill was. Florida then bounced back with a 6-2 S&D win on Piccadilly, and then they beat them 194 to 117 on the domination on St. Petrograd. That's a crazy score for a St. Petro domination. Usually that map is a lot closer because of the way that the map is built. Like you can usually hold a flag.
I think that's the one. Was it LA or maybe in Atlanta where we saw the first draw? It was where they basically tie at the end of the
There was a tie this weekend.
Which
I want to say Minnesota and someone else, but there was a tie in domination this weekend.
I wonder, was it on Petro? I honestly don't remember it. I may not have seen that.
Yeah, I can't remember the map, but there absolutely was a tie this weekend. So that was, I think, the second time that we've seen it.
But we have seen a St. Petro. We have seen a St. Petro. What the first one should have been a tie, right? But they called it they gave it to one of the teams because they got a tick on the last second, and they gave it to the team, right? So the first one wasn't a tie. But anyways, usually St. Petro's a lot closer, but they destroyed them on that map. And then they almost 100-point clubbed them on Gunrunner Hardpoint the last map, 250-115 for Florida to take the championship. Any shocks from you guys? Florida taking it?
That's kind of a big shock to me.
It was only their second event with this roster.
Second event with this roster, with the addition of Pharaoh, who I think really held his own and had a lot to prove. Kind of considering how things played out when he was on 100 Thieves last year. I think he really, especially going in like semifinals and then grand finals, he really stepped it up. Like he really kind of showed what he's made of.
Well, this is a guy who's been hungry the past year, because he did kind of get screwed a little bit.
Almost 2 years, honestly, because he looked like one of the best players in World War II and didn't even get a shot for half the year.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, and he was on TK, right, in World War II.
Yeah, and then at the end of the year, right.
Yeah, he got his opportunity, and then once again he got knocked down after being dropped from 100 Thieves after they picked up Priesta.
He didn't even get picked up by a pro team. Now he's like literally proving all the teams wrong. Like,
well, yeah,
you guys are idiots for not picking me up. Like,
he's been grinding the AM scene for the last year or however long it's been, and he's proven to everybody that he can compete with the top guys and actually actually have an impact with the top guys.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy too is like did he win any AM events
this year, or when
he's been playing the AM events? I honestly don't remember seeing him win one. I could be wrong. I just don't remember seeing it. I could be wrong though.
I don't recall right now, but
no.
again, it's just him not being on the best team because
he got a good opportunity and he's really
Yeah.
made the most of it. I'm really happy for him, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
And so I think that will actually transition us pretty well into our next point as well. What do you think is going to happen with Prestinni?
I mean, because he left, I think he said like, you know, to work on his mental health.
I believe he
I
said
think-
he's ready to come back now, though.
Yeah, I think he'll stay with. If anything changes, maybe the Gorillas. We might see him traded to the Gorillas, but he hasn't really performed poorly. He wasn't benched so they could try out someone else. Sounds like he kind of took a step back to work on himself. I don't really see a reason why he would leave Florida. Now, granted, after this event, they're not going to put him in. Probably like going into next event. see how
Definitely
that
not
turns
right
out.
away, right?
They're not putting him in, but I could definitely see him along with Maniac being a sub. But I don't see him going anywhere else anytime soon.
To your point with when you were saying Los Angeles, I don't think Los Angeles is going to make another big change this year. For some reason, I just feel like they're going to try to rock with this young team and give them experience in the league. And then from there, make changes. They're kind of like, it's very weird to say this because they did have a fairly well-known roster at the start of the year to like what they have now. It's almost like if in like sports, like they're basically feels like Minnesota or LA is rebuilding almost. Like they're trying to set up for the future with all these young stars and benching I can't remember Aches.
Like it makes sense to do that stuff, but I mean, maybe from being like a team owner or just thinking about it rationally.
Oh, you want to win.
You spent $20 million for a league spot to just kind of start building with AMs. Like that doesn't sound like the best idea. I mean, obviously they struggled. They had to make some sort of change. But if they keep struggling and then just keep the roster the way it is, just, you know, rebuild and get them experience, I think that's just kind of a waste.
I'm just saying,
disrespectful to like Aches and stuff. Someone who's proven. Someone who's been proven.
And the captain of the goddamn team.
Not anymore.
And the captain. And someone who's proven themselves before, who's won championships. And then you bench them and leave them benched, you know, to get the amateurs get some experience under their belt. I just think that would be really dumb. But I mentioned Prestinni getting traded to them because if anyone's gonna be the first to make a trade or anything like that, it's going to be the Gorillas. I don't see any other team near a position to be like, all right, this isn't working. Let's just mix it up and release some players. But I can't see it happening. But if it does, that's who it's going to be.
And is there your thoughts on Prestinni?
I think both Florida and Prestinni are going to be patient for the next, few events. I don't see him being moved right away if he does get moved. Because obviously it was his choice to kind of step down and let Faro come in and it's working for Florida. And I think Florida right now is obviously they're content with how the team has performed with Faro in the lineup.
Right.
So I think if you're Florida, you gotta take it one event at a time and just kind of analyze all together. Has a performance improved? Has it dropped with Faro compared to Prestinni? Then you just kind of move forward like that. I think if Florida continues to see, not necessarily win every event, but if they continue to see success, they're gonna probably look to move Prestinni to get either a really strong substitute player, or I mean, like
he would be a really strong substitute player as well.
Yeah,
but
my theory is,
but he's a starting caliber player. That's all.
He's a starting caliber player, but like I've only met him a handful of times, but he seems like, even though he's relatively new to like being a pro,
he's definitely got the experience of being like that guy. I know what you mean.
Yeah, he's got the experience, but like he seems to have some sort of selflessness, because like the last player I saw take a break for the sake of their mental health was Tommy when he was on Reciprocity. But like I could see Prestinni, taking a step back, working on himself. And obviously any COD pro wants to be on a winning team. They want to compete, but I could see him if he takes a step back and the changes they make end up helping the Florida roster and helping the team get, more championships, I could see him like taking that role as like, all right, I'm gonna stay back. I'm here if you need me. But
Right.
I think if he doesn't go anywhere and he like stay in that role, I feel like it would only last, maybe the rest of this season. I don't think he would ever be someone to go take a sub spot.
Yeah.
But I think like as far as this season, he's pretty much anchored in.
Okay, now, do you guys see Florida being able to win another event? Because I know we haven't gotten into power rankings yet, but like where I have them, it's like, yeah, they're up there right now with this league, but like I still kind of feel like out of the 4 teams that have a championship right now, I still don't feel like they're the one who I'm like going into event out of those 4 teams. They're the bottom of those 4 teams that I can see winning a chip. I feel like they just had a really good Sunday. I know that might just be really bad to say, but like they could definitely win another one. But it's like I just don't see it over the other top 3 teams in the league.
Well, they had a really good Sunday, but like if you look at it as a whole, like we said earlier, besides the first match, everything was 3-1.
Right.
Like they kind of people say.
Question is where's the ceiling for this team though? Right. You know what I mean?
And people are going to talk about it being online and all this stuff, which obviously does play a factor to the point where they have to add a third day just to leave room for technical difficulties. Like that obviously impacts it.
I'm so happy it's gone back to 3 days though. Oh my god.
Yeah, but it was 3-1 victories against Chicago.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't no offense, but it wasn't 3-1 victories against New York or Optic or London. It was some of the top tier teams
for sure.
And they not only held their own, they kind of smoked them for the most part. So I could definitely see them winning another one. Now, if it goes back to LAN,
I don't think I think they've already said they're not going for the rest of this season.
No, I know that, but I'm saying like in the future.
For in the future,
I think if it was on LAN, it would be a different story because people on Dallas and Chicago thrive in that LAN atmosphere, physically being on a main stage. Mm-hmm. Like if Scump's on fire on a Sunday, it's kind of over. And the same goes with some of the other teams, but I could definitely see him winning another one.
They've obviously shown that they're capable of winning and beating these very, very good teams. I just think the biggest thing is that time will tell if they can do it again or if they can play with these other big teams, because we haven't seen Atlanta or London yet.
I don't even count London in the top, but
we don't know. The thing is, we don't know how good they are online. Atlanta, you obviously expect them to be online gods,
right?
But who knows with London? Maybe online is where they're at their best. We just don't know yet.
And not just to interrupt you really quick. It's been, I don't know exactly how long it was the LA event was March 7th, started March 7th. It's been a long time of no COD.
For sure. These teams could have gotten a lot better too in the break, right?
Yeah.
So
who knows? Maybe next event Subliners come out and get top 3 or something. Like these, and it's unlike a lot of things, a lot of sports that aren't happening now, like traditional sports. These guys have only been playing online. Like so they're used to it obviously from scrims and everything.
Oh, that's true too.
The season, like no one knows what the outcome's going to be.
Well, I'm going to give a quick example. NASCAR and IndyCar have been doing their iRacing events online. It's for anybody that doesn't know, it's a real, like it's a sim game of like actual race cars and stuff, and it's very, very realistic. And so like when NASCAR is running these iRacing events, there's guys like, okay, let's say Jimmy Johnson, for example. He's so dominant in real life. He's won all the time. Like he's just really, really good. But then there's the switch to online where a guy like Sage Karam for the Indy cars has like 1,000 iRacing races under his belt, and he's dominated like online every single race. He's dominated. And so there's certain guys who just cope with playing online way better than on the main stage with the crowd, with the pressure and all that. So
yeah,
It happens. Is Florida that kind of team?
Especially with
Atlanta
the-
that kind of team?
I mean, I guess so, but at the same time, I feel like that's like a completely different type of thing, right? Like you're talking like switching from driving a fucking race car to driving a car online. You know what I mean?
The idea, like in theory, the best NASCAR driver knows exactly what to do in every situation, but get online, his knowledge doesn't change.
For sure.
He still knows everything what to do, but it's a different atmosphere.
Yeah, exactly.
So like some of these new players, like I keep going back to Gorillas, like some of the younger players, they're going to be, sitting at home in their PJs, cracked out on a Saturday afternoon playing in the league. They're going to be a lot more comfortable than being on the main stage.
For sure.
So I think it's just going to be that dynamic of.
I did like what I saw Chicago doing, where they had their 4 players all playing out of the hex quarters. I did like that because it's kind of resembles a LAN atmosphere, or they tried to at least. So I
think that goes back.
I was just gonna say I did like that they were doing that because that those players play best when they're all there and there's like reps and reps and reps of how they would be playing. So I like to see that.
Like Scump thriving on the main stage. I think if he's at home in his off, he'll still be good. It doesn't take away from his talent, but that adrenaline stuff isn't gonna be there unless you're all together.
Because Chicago is a team, clearly from the events that we've seen, that they're a team that thrives off of the crowd. They love to live in the moment. They love to play in the moment. They feed off the hype. They feed off the crowd. They feed off of each other in that atmosphere. I'm honestly not surprised they struggled a little bit here online. Obviously, they're all very, very good players, but it's just not the same. And I think that's going to be a huge factor for some of these teams.
To be fair, I know, like this might make me sound like fanboy, but like they did only lose one series this weekend too. Right, because of how the league works. So, like you're saying, like they didn't really struggle. They just lost to Florida, who they also already lost to on land.
They just weren't Chicago.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say shout out to Dallas for keeping the main stage vibes real. I can't remember what series it was, but they were doing it to be funny. They won a map, and you see them all in their webcams go. they're fist bumping.
That seems like some shit Krim would do, but
yeah, that's good.
Krim would just be out there.
Oh, I'm sure we saw that. Everybody's like,
"Yo, dude, let's fucking go, boys. Let's go."
But yeah, I think that dynamic of LAN veterans and then online warriors is going to make for an interesting rest of the season.
So we kind of merged our 2 points together with Prestinni and the online versus LAN. So like, do you guys have anything else that you guys like have an opinion on for the online versus LAN point?
I think it'll get better. Was it Friday and Saturday?
It was already better from Sunday, and Saturday.
Yeah, Sunday was a million times better. I don't think there's maybe like legally or like a fully safe way to do it. It is a little difficult with the casters being in their apartments or in their homes, and I get that. I don't know where everyone lives. Some might be in California or New York, but there are measures where, because obviously some companies are still open, doing online orders, selling stuff, or curbside, whatever. There is, I think, a safe way to maybe get 4 of the casters in a studio, even 20 feet apart. So I think I think we mentioned earlier, maybe this was off camera, Merc's dog going off.
Oh yeah, no, it was Maven's dog, and Merc made a comment.
Yeah, like Maven's dog going off, or there was a part where one of the casters like internet cut out and stuff like that.
Yeah, the Discord call dropped on the Saturday match, actually, or the Sunday match. Was it Sunday? No, it was the Saturday night match. It was between Huntsman and Florida. It was like Momo and Miles, and Miles and Miles like they just couldn't hear each other. But I mean, like that's gonna happen, right? It's online. There's circumstances that they can't really change. I don't see why they would put them in a studio. To be honest, I feel like that would honestly it wouldn't really fix much, as opposed to like
it wouldn't fix much, but like it would be more professional equipment. You wouldn't have to rely on a Discord call.
Right.
Like
I can use iRacing. I can use iRacing as another example. See what they did. What what was it? Fox did is that they had 3 guys in the studio. They had the production guy and 2 casters or commentators, and they had their own little setup. They had Jeff Gordon and Mike Joy about 15 feet apart with their own, set of monitors. They had their webcam, everything like that. So I like your point, James, where I think that's something that they can do and that they probably should if they want to kind of up the quality a little bit. As long as they're smart about it, they can pull it off.
Because I know some of the casters live in Columbus, where the headquarters. So it's not like you're bringing people from LA on a plane to Columbus. I just kind of mean like some of those people who are more local.
For sure, I agree with you. I'm just saying I just don't see them. I just don't see them doing it. But they could.
Oh, if they do it, it would be late summer or something when this starts to actually
when it actually starts to deteriorate. Yeah, for sure. Do you guys want to go into power rankings?
I wanted to bring something up. I
really like iRacing. It's really
I'm a huge fan. You suck.
James, I want to thank the Lord.
No, but we talked about it before we actually started recording, or at least I wanted to talk about it. The benching of coaches. So far we've seen Los Angeles bench
captains.
God,
got you.
Jesus, I am just way off, but I appreciate that. Yes,
it is 5 o'clock in the morning. I would just like to point that out to everyone watching.
Benching captains. We've seen LA bench Akes, and we've seen Toronto bench Looney this past weekend. And I want Jesse's opinions first. Like, what are your thoughts on benching?
Do we technically count Prestinni as being benched as well because he was the captain? No. I'm just wondering, are we counting that or no?
No, I see like the team removing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll exclude Prestinni.
I actually like both of the moves. I know that you weren't a big fan of them, Zarin, yourself. I liked both of the moves of the 2 benchings because Akes was not performing. I wouldn't even say Looney wasn't performing, but Looney wasn't performing to where Looney has been performing before in his career. I think that we can all agree with that. I also think Looney would also be performing about a lot better with a lot better of a team though as well. Looney has always relatively had pretty strong teams, no? Like he was on that Rise Nation team that was destroying in World War II after TK, right?
That's the one where TJ got MVP, right?
Yeah, he won with methods getting MVP. TJ won MVP the next event, right? Like Looney has always been on relatively strong teams. So I feel like he will be a starter again in the league at some point this year. Probably not for Toronto.
My theory is... Oh, go ahead.
No.
I could see him wanting out.
I don't... That's... No. Not
my thought
really.
is...
I don't see
my
that.
thought is unless we know why they were benched, I don't... It's hard to make an opinion on it. Because, who knows?
Toronto's very quiet with their stuff, though.
I'm not saying it's the case, but who knows? Maybe Akes was just an asshole. And
I mean, you could.
It's very possible.
Right.
Very possible.
Right. And who knows what was going on, behind the scenes? Maybe it wasn't necessarily strictly performance wise.
Yeah, we don't know.
If something's bad enough, we saw, with the old Optic Dynasty, you could tell they weren't performing well at events. But then you hear about what was going on behind closed doors, and you're just like, how did they even stick together for that long?
For that long, exactly. Yeah. No, for sure.
So it's like when it comes to benching captains, I think unless they come out and say well, they weren't performing to what we wanted, it's kind of hard to make a decision whether or not it's kind of a good or bad thing.
Okay, I didn't fully get what I was saying across either. So to your question of
because I don't care what you have to say, but it's fine.
Well, to your question of what you were saying about benching of the captains, I think that it's okay to bench your captain if your captain's not performing. In all honesty, Akes deserved to be benched when he got benched. He wasn't performing well, not at all. You can't even say he was. Now do I think? Well, now do I think? I think, to be honest with you, between Akes and Looney on who has a better chance of getting back onto their team, I think Akes has a better chance of getting back onto the Gorillas before Looney gets back onto Toronto. But that's also because of how many players Toronto has. And they're like, we got 10 starting players. So,
see, I'm going to disagree with you there. I think Looney is more likely to get back in the lineup because he's a natural-born leader. And I honestly think probably within the next few events he will be back. It's not going to take long for him to get back because we know how bad Classic was last year. Like he was
Classic
just
is
not good.
I mean, Classic looks a lot better this year than he did last year.
He does, and credit to him. I don't want to bash him too hard, but like.
But I agree with you. He was terrible
yeah.
last year.
I would think he would be a guy that could possibly get subbed out because I mean he has been playing forever. So I do think Looney will be back within at least an event or two. But as far as Ace goes, and I'm going to use another example. I'll use the Michael Jordan example.
Ace
The
is
last
not
time
Michael
we
Jordan.
talked about this. Okay, but now I'm going to use Tom Brady for an example, okay?
Well, you got to hit it close to home.
No. Well, actually, you know what? I'll use two examples from football. Okay, so first is Tom Brady, okay? 6 Super Bowls, best quarterback to ever do it, 41 years old, or 42 now.
Thank you for acknowledging him as the GOAT. I appreciate that.
Second best. Joe Montana was better.
Okay, that's
Marcus Mariota, but
Ryan Tannehill. But Tom Brady fell off a cliff last year. He had a very, very disappointing season, I would say.
for him, yes. They still won 12 games, but for him it was a disappointing season for sure.
Yeah, like stats wise, he was very disappointing. And he chose to keep playing, and obviously he wasn't going to go anywhere as a backup, and every team knew that. And this is what I'm thinking with Akes. Like, Akes is not going to sign with a team or stay on a team where he's going to be on the bench because he wants to start. He at one point he was the best in the world, and that leadership and that mentality, which Brady does have too, that's not gonna go away. That's always going to be something that he has and something that he can bring to a team. If he's like,
okay, I do have a question for you. Sorry, go ahead, James.
I was gonna say my only disagreement on that, it's not even really a disagreement, is that it's like I get the example and it makes perfect sense, but as far as like COD goes, I mean we've seen some situations where the captain might not even be the in-game leader, so you can bench a captain.
You're not wrong. I mean, Scump's been the captain of all his teams, and
right.
He's never been the IGL, right? So,
but we're talking about Akes and Looney's.
Right, specifically Akes and Looney, yeah.
Yeah, so those guys are their captains and in-game leaders. I can guarantee Looney is, and as well as Akes.
I just don't see Akes getting. Where would Akes go in the league? Who wants Akes on their team? In all honesty,
hey, I mean, Toronto could always use an extra sub.
I said it before. I think I said it before, but if Tom Brady this year at any point in the season throws 4 interceptions, you think Tampa's really gonna bench him for throwing 4 interceptions?
No, okay, bro. Can we stop with the sports? Like honestly, like I just want to talk COD. No, but like seriously, no. I'm not even salty about Tom Brady. But like honestly,
salty Patriots fan. No, shut up for
no, you shut up. I'm literally not even talking about the Patriots and stuff. I'm literally talking like, look, it's two different things. It is 2 different things. Talking about the Patriots and Tom Brady throwing 4 interceptions. Of course, you're not going to bench fucking Tom Brady for throwing 4 interceptions. That's a completely different sport.
This is my point.
Akes is trash. He is literally trash this year. He is so bad. He is not. No, he's not, bro. Akes is not Tom Brady. You are actually an idiot. Tom Brady has 20 years in the league and 6 championships and how many AFC, like whatever, right? How many times has he been at the top of the league? And you're gonna fucking tell me that Akes has been at the top of the league and the best player in the fucking world for how many fucking years? Shut up. No, he has not, and you are wrong.
Tom Brady has
he wasn't
compared for 8 years.
He wasn't. He also to be the ref. He wasn't saying that Akes is the equivalent of Tom Brady in Call of Duty.
No, but yes, he was. He literally was just saying that Akes is Tom Brady.
But he's not saying Akes has been best in the world six years.
But he's saying that. I just don't agree with the reference at all, and it's not because I'm a salty Patriots fan. I don't give a fuck that Brady left. But like, it literally does not make sense. I don't want Brady on my team, so shut up, Zarin, about that. But like, fuck it, it makes literally no sense.
He's using it as an example. Is that Tom Brady's the captain? Like, if the captain makes mistakes, if he was a first year captain, first year COD pro,
Akes is so bad.
You'd bench him.
Akes is so bad.
Akes
deserves to get benched.
It's a vet. It's a vet who has been on top before.
Yeah.
Who does have
Aches was that guy.
Right.
He has those championships.
He's not
was the best
saying
in the world.
he's not saying he's the Tom Brady of Call of Duty. That was just
That's
just
what
an
it came
example
across
of-
sounding like.
No, that was just an example of a captain who didn't perform well for a period of time. You wouldn't punish him for it. That's all you're saying.
If I did say he was Tom Brady, I apologize. I did not mean it like that.
That's why I went off, because you did say that. But I'm like, boy.
No, but you were also being a dick, and so I had to come to like my defense because my reference was fucking amazing, and you were just pissed because you.
Bro, you've literally referenced iRacing twice in this episode. You've referenced iRacing twice.
Right.
You are not right. Aches sucks. Aches is not going to get another starting spot in this league. I can't see it.
Tom Brady sucks.
Right now, yeah. He's not as good as he once was. Aches is not as good as he once was.
This is my point!
Aches is not as good as he once was.
I know!
That's what
I'm
he's saying.
not fucking saying he's the best in the league.
So why are you like saying that he deserves a spot on a starting roster?
Because he's a leader! Who the fuck have you been listening to this past fucking 10 minutes?
What team is he going to go to? What team will he go to make better? Because I can't see one.
Any team.
That's a lie.
Other than outside the top 4,
I don't.
any team.
I mean,
maybe New York. That's the only one I can think is maybe New York.
What?
I can see it. Maybe he'll make New York better, but he'll just clash with everybody on New York because he has a terrible attitude.
Other than Dallas, actually, he might fit well in Dallas, to be honest. But Dallas, Atlanta, and Chicago, and probably Minnesota now. Any other team, he would benefit them. Actually, honestly, he'd probably be better as a coach right now. But I think any team he goes to, or even if he stays on LA, he's going to help them in a positive way.
I could see him helping in a coach role. I see him helping in a coach role. I can't see him helping on the in the game. If they expand the league, I could see him getting a starting spot in the league. But I can't.
I just don't see who he would.
I don't see any team that he could go to right now that he could make a positive difference to, except maybe New York because they're that bad.
Because everyone's improving more every event.
The problem is that okay. Relax, okay? Similar to Tom Brady, he has such a huge passion for playing. All he wants to do is play. And so
passion can only get you so far. He really this year, come on, let's be honest. He looked so bad. It is the worst that he has ever looked.
His team was awful though.
We've had three events this year.
That's true.
Like leading up until Dallas. So it's not like he's
Aches obviously also gets better later in the year as well. But
it gets better in the year, but like
I don't.
It's not like like when there were the opens. He hasn't been playing for 7 months and stuff already. We've had 3 actual events, and I think they've obviously only been at 2 of them. So
yeah,
I think it might have been too early to make that big of a change. I
agree. It was too early for that of a change.
Yeah, because I think we mentioned that in one of the podcasts.
I do agree with that, but I just don't think that Aches was very good at all. So I kind of understand the change, but
I'm not saying he was. No, I'm not saying he was.
It was just the idea of being the captain, like in-game leader.
I think he would actually be better with the current team. What's the starting lineup now? I know Vivid, Spart, Lacefield,
Blast,
and Aqua.
Blast and Aqua.
Yeah. Take Lacefield out of that lineup. Put Aches with those guys like Vivid and Spart. You know how valuable that is. And let's say like what James said, if LA is preparing for the future, Aches mentoring these guys like Vivid and Spart is, I couldn't think of someone better to help them along the way other than him, or maybe Crimsix or Clay.
That's a good point. I could see him taking Lacefield's spot out of all those guys' spots on that team. That's probably the only one I could see him taking though, because Lacefield's running the AR right now. Yeah. So that's like, because Aches ain't running anything but an AR because Aches literally can't shoot straight. So
and I don't defend Aches a lot, but I'd like to point out, it's not like
I'm just kidding. I said that to trigger you. I'm sorry, Zach.
It's not like he's necessarily fallen off. It was just two years ago that he won Worlds.
That was a fluke. They looked good. I don't know. Yeah, that was the fluke. That was the weirdest COD champs ever.
He wasn't, but he wasn't the shining player on Evil.
No.
But I mean, he was good enough to.
Yeah, no, I'm not taking
be
anything
up
away
there.
from that World Championship, but that was the weirdest COD champs ever. In terms of who won, at least. Like,
Big fanboy. Okay, I think we're done with this.
yeah, I think we should move on to power rankings.
Gotta
Yeah.
save your energy. Don't argue over the rankings.
Yeah, this is got a little bit out of control, but we'll try to get things back together as we move towards our power rankings for our post Dallas Open.
We're going by the
Going
Dexerto
to
ones again. I sent it
Yes.
to the to
Yeah.
everybody.
Got it.
Perfect.
So, oh, by the way, I just want to say one thing before we started. I really thought CDL moving to online would get rid of Rich Campbell, but unfortunately he's still there. Okay, moving on. Now we are going off of Dexerto.com's mine and James' favorite website ever. We absolutely love everything they put out. Such great content. But that's enough of...
There goes our partnership.
Yeah. That's enough of gassing them up, because clearly...
All right, number 12.
But number 12, we have the Los Angeles Guerrillas. I have them there as well. Jesse, where do you have them?
12.
12. Number 11.
Yeah,
Uh,
Los Angeles is the worst team in the league.
yeah. And
Number 11, New York Subliners. Subliners or Subliners?
Are we just gonna keep going? You say the team, then me, James, then back to you. We're just gonna keep
Yeah.
going like that.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
if there's a big enough,
All right. Number 11 as well. Not
same.
no change in my power rankings from the bottom two from the last time I made power rankings, but we didn't really talk about them. But yeah, New York and Gorillas bottom two, 100%. I don't even think there's an argument.
I have them actually at number 9.
New York.
It's
Yeah.
because he's a fool and has Seattle higher than them, or has some other teams lower than. But
I was really impressed the last LAN event that they played. They looked actually pretty good. When they were playing well, they did look very, very good, obviously.
Mhm.
So I've kept them there.
All my changes were basically because, yeah, same thing. Kind of people improved, so
Yeah.
people went up to the top and just kind of knocked.
And it also kind of I kept them there again because I expect them to be better online, and I think they're going to be better than the couple teams that I have behind them. So
Yeah.
not too much.
I only have them so low because I just don't. I don't know. I just can't see them like maybe they could get better because they've been practicing together now with Happy longer. But like I just honestly from what I seen the last time I seen them play, it wasn't enough for me to move them out of that.
They
low.
got better, but not enough to kind of be in contention.
Yeah, that's just how I see it.
Okay, number 10, Seattle Surge.
So far, me and Dexerto are still the same.
Who knows? Maybe we see eye to eye on things more than I thought.
I moved Seattle also down to number 10. I had them at number 9 the week before. I moved them down to number 10 now.
I had them number 8 last time.
Yeah, honestly, Seattle has been disappointing, man. Like I don't even think that we can say anything besides the fact that they've been disappointing anymore.
Yeah.
They made the team change. It really hasn't done too much. Pander looks okay, but the team just doesn't.
Yeah.
The team just is not playing well, and like we can't really say that they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where do you guys have them at?
I'm the same thing. I'm the same place.
I've Seattle at number 7. Not moving any spots from the last defense. Well, okay. My reasoning is
They have 20 points in the league, bro. They've won one match.
they got DBF hard. Okay.
Oh, they've won 2 matches. I can't.
Yeah, they got DBF hard this event, but they forced 2 game 5s, and they won, I believe, 2 out of 4 S&Ds. So that's something to take into consideration. They finally figuring out their S&D game.
Not that bad.
Sort of. I mean, 50% win percentage is better than 0, which is what everyone is used to. So I have them at number 7, not moving a muscle.
Oh my god.
I do expect them to be a little bit better again online, but
I don't.
They're just not impressing really anybody.
I don't. Okay. I don't want to fully get into this. I just don't. I do not understand how you have them there. I have them at number 10 because the 2 teams that I have above them being Toronto and Optic are Toronto at least won a fucking series this weekend. No, it was against Florida, but Florida won the damn event. So,
Right.
Toronto definitely should be above them, in my opinion. And Optic also looked way, way, way better at the last event as well that they played at. And Seattle has won 2 maps and they got double rounded again. I just don't understand it. But I don't want to fully get into an argument. I understand your points, but I disagree completely.
So like there's a lot to unpack there. Okay, number 9. We have the Toronto Ultra.
Same. Number 9 as well. I swear I didn't look at Nick Serto's power rankings.
Same. I didn't get them till you sent them to me 20 minutes into recording.
That's when I just looked at them as well. I got them at number 9 because I thought they were just a little bit better than Seattle this weekend.
I have them at number 10, bumping up a spot from number 11 at the last event. They did look much better. They looked more comfortable, and they looked comfortable with each other because they were new going into this one, relatively new. Like Looney out and who's it, Cammy in. They did look better, but I'm not sold on them quite yet. I think they still have quite a bit to work on, so I'm keeping them right around the 10 spot for now. But we'll see next event. See how they kind of.
We'll see how they do. Yep.
Yeah, we'll see if they can kind of continue on. But they're going in the right direction, I think. Okay, number 8, Optic LA.
That's where I have them as well. I got Optic at number 8. My reasoning for Optic being at number 8 is, again, they just looked much better at the last time. They looked like the Optic that they should have been. I honestly could have moved them. I could have seen myself move them higher. I just haven't yet because I want to see a little bit of consistency out of them. But if they come out playing the way that they played at that last event again, they will definitely be moving up my power rankings into the top 6.
Yeah, I have him, Nate. I think I had him in. I
had him at number 12.
After last event. What you guys didn't see is because there had been such a big gap. We made initial power rankings after the last event, but then, it was over a month until anything else happened. So I initially had them at 7, but then with Florida moving up higher in mine, they dropped down to 8.
I have LA Optic at number 11. I actually, yeah, they were impressive at the Los Angeles event, but again, I'm not sold on them.
I'm in the same boat as you.
I'm also not completely sold on them, but I just moved them up as a result of other teams moving down as well. But I just have a question for you. If Seattle and Optic played right now, who do you think's winning that?
Yeah, it's hard to say because again, online is a very different scenario.
I mean, but we also saw Seattle lose 2 maps online or 2 series online back to back as well.
I think Optic.
If Seattle could win a search, maybe they have a better chance. But they can't win a damn search.
I think
that's the problem.
They won 2.
I think the last Optic we saw.
They can't win the game 5 though. But sorry, go ahead, James.
I think the last Optic we saw in LA would beat the current Seattle.
I think so as well.
But as of right now, online, Optic LA against Seattle, I don't know.
I think Optic is going to be a better online team than Seattle as well, but that's.
I think Optic will improve with the switch to online, but I don't know who they're going to be better than right now. So I'm keeping them at 11. Actually, I bumped them up from 12 after the last event.
Hey, that's improvement.
Yeah, because you didn't do like you didn't do power rankings after LA, right?
No, we did it before.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, me and James both made one after LA. Like, we had one ready to go for our last podcast, but we just never ended up making one.
I am taking that into consideration for this
power ranking. Yeah,
power rankings though. So anyway, moving on. Number 7, London Royal Ravens.
Okay, this is getting really weird. London's number 7 for me as well. Because
yo, can I borrow your homework?
Yeah, can we pass it? Take it? No. Honestly, London, we didn't see them at this last event. I hope they've gotten better because they didn't look fantastic. Stop. Because they.
I got you.
Oh.
Okay. Oh my lord. London's gotten better. I hope London's gotten better. They haven't moved in my power rankings.
But
they're still. I just don't see them as a top 6 team right now. They definitely could be if they were winning, but they just haven't really been winning. So it's like it's hard to put them in the top 6.
It's hard to put it with this big of gap. It's hard to put them anywhere. You couldn't even put them anywhere based on scrims.
So,
We have nothing to go off.
sorry, and could I just meant to say this as well. Sorry, so looking at like just CDL point standings, I know not all the teams have obviously played all the events, but the reason I'd have LA, or like I think that there's a clear gap between your top 6 teams and your bottom 6 teams, because like Paris at 60 points and then London's at 40 points, and that's your 6-7, right? And I think we've seen Paris and London match up a couple times now, and Paris has come out with the win more times, more often, right? So I don't know. I just feel like there's a clear gap between your top 6 and your bottom 6 teams. Except for me, I feel like Optic has that chance to break into the top 6 right now.
I could see that. I have London at number 5. That did not change from the last event. I do think they are a top 5 team. They've shown the ability that they can be. I think they've been a little bit underwhelming, but again, the switch to online, who knows? So I kept them there. I do think they will be pretty solid online, but we didn't see them this past weekend, so it's kind of hard to say. So I just kept them at number 5.
Yeah, I had Paris, I think, number 5 last event, but based on kind of off how the teams did and how Minnesota did this weekend, they took the number 5 spot, bumped down to Paris to 6 for me. So still keeping the pattern.
Did they make a team switch? Because I believe they did.
London?
I believe they made a team switch, from my understanding. I believe I saw that somewhere, that they made a team switch as well.
Oh, I did not.
Yes, so Rated is out and Shawnee is in the starting roster.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Oh, yeah, they're going to get better with that switch.
You think so?
Yeah.
Shawnee is a solid player.
I just feel like Rated is, like, I don't know why they made the change. Maybe because these things weren't working out. I just feel like Rated's always just been so good.
Rated, it is said that Rated does have attitude issues at times, so there could possibly be a conflict there. But again, we don't know, but I don't want to say anything to,
right,
sound bad.
It most likely doesn't seem like it would be based off his.
Yeah. I have heard that he at some points does have attitude issues.
Right. But, and sorry about that. Honestly, I just wanted to bring that up because I totally forgot about it.
I'm glad you did. So that my ranking is justified. I think they will get better with that move. So number 6, we have Paris.
Yeah.
Same. So I have Paris at 6. I know this sounds like I've literally copied their thing. I actually have reasoning behind all these. So I got Paris down to 6. I moved them down to 6 after actually Los Angeles because they weren't at this last event. Because I thought Minnesota and Florida both looked a lot better than Paris did at that event. And I know like it's like hard to kind of move them around, but I feel like now with Florida winning the last event and Minnesota being in back-to-back grand finals, it's justified, especially now with Paris moving down to 6.
That's what happened to mine. Minnesota moving up, knocked Paris down to 6. Like I said earlier.
Yeah, I have
10th.
Paris has yet to crack my top 7, as they sit at 8, and they have been no higher all season long.
What's their S&D record?
Oh my god.
They still undefeated in S&D?
Yeah, they are. They're going to win both S&Ds this weekend that just happened. I don't know.
This weekend that just happened.
Yeah.
Damn.
Are
you a psychic?
Bold prediction.
Yeah.
They didn't look good this weekend. Honestly, they beat Seattle, but then they just.
Yeah, I'm just saying you guys had Paris like number 4 after week 1, and
because they were they were a top 4 team after week 1.
No, but I bumped them up I think 1 spot maybe because of their performance, and I haven't been sold on them all year, and they're proving me right.
Well, I mean. I'm going to be honest. They didn't look great this weekend. But the 2 teams that they got kicked out by are teams who I do have higher than them in power rankings now. They got beat by Chicago 3-1 and then Minnesota 3-1. So those are 2 very good teams that they got beat by. I think if they play any of the bottom 6 teams, they beat the bottom 6 teams. Except I'd say Optic as well could beat them still.
Because they're a bottom 6 team.
No, this is what I'm saying. They are a top 6 team. And they could beat any of the bottom 6 teams except for Optic. I think.
Yeah, because they're a bottom 6 team. Like Paris. If you can't beat a team in the top 6, how are you a top 6 team? This is what I'm saying. I'm saying they are a top 6 team because they can beat anybody in the bottom 6 as well.
So it's like, how can you put them in the bottom six?
They're
not
upwards of
impressive.
being
Yeah, but how can you put them in the bottom six if they can beat all the teams that are in the bottom six? Is what I'm saying. Do you know what I'm saying, James?
Yeah, so what he's saying is like, it's kind of like, this is no hate whatsoever, just an example. It's like being the best out of all the losers.
That's basically at
So
this
out
point
of the
now.
bottom six, Paris is on top because they could, not easily, but they could most likely beat any of the bottom six. But going up against the top six or top five, they would struggle a lot more. So they're kind of the best of the top six. That's what he's saying.
And like honestly, and I didn't have them higher than fourth in our power rankings before. So it's like, I feel like fourth before was justifiable because of how well they were playing before.
I was also just kind of hyped off Kismet's interview.
Kismet convinced James.
He converted me, so I put him at 4 and I was disappointed. Anyways,
let's move on.
That's not impressive if you can't beat a top 5 team. So, moving on, number 5, Minnesota Rocker, actually dropping a spot, according to Dick Serto.
where did I have him last time?
So after LA, I had Minnesota number 4, Florida number 5. Because Florida just won the event beating Minnesota, I have Florida number 4, Minnesota number 5 now. And that's the only switch I've made from the last time I made a power rankings. So Minnesota number 5 for me as well. So I'm literally still the same. I think I'm actually the exact same as Dick Serto.
I think I am too, because I have, after Florida winning, I put them at number 4 and dropped Minnesota to 5.
And this is the highest Florida's been in my power rankings.
Yeah, and like we said, Minnesota's been back-to-back grand finals.
Yeah.
So
It's like it's hard not to put like I just can't put Paris any higher.
It is like Gen G, like you said earlier. It's like they can get there, they just can't finish.
LA for sure. Or sorry, I mean Minnesota.
Yeah,
Where do you have them?
They can get up there, but
Yeah, I have them at number 4. That didn't change from LA. They've been really, really impressive, I think, all year long. Even the tournaments they didn't make the finals, which has only happened twice. They've still looked fairly good, and I think they didn't play one as also. So out of 3 events that they played, they made grand finals twice. That's a top 4 quality team right there, and they have beaten very, very good teams as well. So that definitely keeps them in the top 4 for me.
Yeah, I mean they beat FaZe at the LA event to go into the grand finals and then shit the bed, but
the past is past.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think we all agree they're around a 4 or 5 spot though.
Yeah. They're definitely they're looking like they can be with that elite group in the top 3. So we'll see.
Yeah. I feel like as the past probably 2 or 3 podcasts, I feel like we have the same 1, 2, 3 spots.
Well, we're at number 4 currently. So
well, we both say Zaren's got.
I think Zaren said he changed up
that.
his top 3 though. So
Oh, did you?
I did.
So I don't think that we have the
never
same.
Never mind.
So are we going number 4 now, right?
Number 4, we got Florida.
Yeah, that's what we both said we had.
Yeah.
Me and Cruz.
Yeah.
I have Florida at 6.
After winning an event.
Yeah. They were, I believe they were number 9 for me.
I could see that because I said this.
Oh no, they were 6 last event too.
I said. Well, like I said, I said off camera, it is the first event online. I don't want to take anything away from them and say, oh, well, they only won because it's online. But I could see, I kind of agree with not making a change because it's almost a completely different tournament.
Yeah, I'm not going to let this dictate what I think of them because I don't think they're a top 5 team, and I don't think they will be. They look very good this weekend for sure, but I'm struggling to hop on this bandwagon too quickly. So we'll see over the next couple events how they do. If they keep this up, then absolutely I'll put them in the top 4.
So
all the 3 1s is what helped me bump them up. Is that the series didn't really go to game 5 at all.
And I put them in the top 4 solely off the fact that they beat the team that I did have in the top 4 in the grand finals. So and I do understand your point to saying like you guys don't really want to make big changes because it's online, but the only thing for me is it is just an online league now. So I could also
going in from
I know, so the change, but you also have to remember they do scrim every day online, right? So it's like it's not like they weren't practiced going in. So
right.
Fair, yeah.
So I don't know. But there were a lot of problems this weekend though too. So take it all into account. But I after winning an event and how good they looked, I just can't not put them in the top 4 with the other teams who have won an event.
Right. And when I mentioned like it being online, we talked about earlier about like, some players being more comfortable online and more comfortable online. When I talk about the kind of the big difference, I mean the stuff that's out of their control, like players not dropping lobbies and stuff like that. I don't want to say Florida won because they didn't have any issues with technical stuff like other teams did, but I kind of understand like not wanting to fully say Florida's top 3 team. Look, they can beat all the others. Just kind of playing it safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I mean, I may disagree with you guys, but I definitely understand them. So, number 3, we got Dallas.
Okay, I think my things are actually going to be exactly the same as Dexterdo's this week. I also have Dallas at number 3 as well.
I do as well.
Dallas is at number 3 for me because they've been pretty consistent against I don't even want to say like against the good team because like they've lost to the Chicago quite a bit and they've lost to FaZe quite a bit, right? That's where most of their losses have come from. But against any teams outside the top 3, they've looked fairly good against. Can we agree with that? Hey,
Yeah.
Minnesota.
I think their only challenge has been Minnesota.
Minnesota is the only one that they. But they beat Minnesota too, didn't they? They lost to them at this event, but they beat them at the last event for the championship.
Yeah, it's been back and forth.
So that's why it's just hard to not put them in the top 3 when they've looked so good against all the other teams. For me, and they have won an event now as well, so it kind of justifies them.
James?
No, I agree. I agree with everything he was saying. Kind of that's why I still have him at number 3. I don't, unless something crazy happens, I don't really see them changing anytime soon on my list.
I have them at number 2, jumping over the Huntsman. Before this started, I did have them at 1, but I changed my mind, so don't get on my ass. But Dallas, they were the best online team to start the year. They just dominated everybody. So I think that will play a factor for them. They looked very good this weekend, I think. They went to Game 5 against Toronto, whatever, but that happens. Like, they're not always going to win 3-0. They're not always going to win 3-1. Dallas is a good team, like Jesse said. They've been very consistent against everybody else in the league. Their main struggles have been Chicago and Atlanta. But in my opinion, they look better than Chicago, and I think moving forward they will be better than Chicago. So that's why I have them ahead of them at number 2.
I kind of disagree with you a little bit. I don't think that they were that much better than Chicago this weekend. Like I think both. I'm just saying. I think like I just think that Chicago. Like I enjoy watching the Chicago games, and I am a Chicago fan, so I know you guys will take that into like and think that I'm like being biased. It's just I have Chicago in my number 2 as opposed to Dallas in my number 2, but I can see why you put Dallas in your number 2. From these last 2 events, they have placed better than Chicago has. I just think that head to head, Chicago will still beat Dallas, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give you hate for that one. That is a valid point. Okay, number 2, Chicago. You both have Chicago at number 2.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. No.
Any quick thoughts on Chicago after this event and moving forward?
If Chicago does not make it out of semis next event that they play in, Chicago will move down in my power rankings.
James?
I kind of agree with that. Like, I think, and at least for me, they have to be consistently getting to semifinals. If they don't, I kind of get that. If they get rounded, that's bad. Well, no, I know that, but I'm saying like, I think if I'm not going to be in the spot where like if they don't make grand finals, they're going to drop down. I think if they're consistently in semis, they're going to basically stay in the 2 to 3 range because we don't know what's going to happen with FaZe next event. I mean, those kids are cracked out at the beginning of the year.
I think FaZe is only going to get better, to be honest. Going
throw them online with some G Fuel.
I feel like FaZe playing at home in front of their own setups and stuff, they're just gonna get better. And weirdly
Yes.
enough,
Oh,
like
yeah.
that's why I still. So
I mean,
should we
they
just
probably
move to number one?
graduated high school.
I just got.
They just graduated high school. Like
Yeah, they live in their mom's basement still. Don't
they
worry.
live in their mom's basement. They got a G Fuel sponsorship. Like we're in quarantine. These kids are cracked. Like
Yeah, and you know what? I think if you put them all on the floor in a line, I'd still be taller than them. But yeah, this team obviously Dick Serto has them at number one, and so do the three of us.
It's hard not to put them at number one, right? They've lost one match really badly, right? So
by far the best team, not only on land but now going online. I can't even imagine how good they're going to be.
yeah. So I'm glad that we can all agree on number one still.
Yeah, I don't think much has changed.
Our 1, 2, 3 is very similar still. You just ended up moving Dallas above, and
Yeah,
like I said, I can see why you did it. So like, honestly, I agree with our 1, 2, 3 still. It's hard to not put those three teams in the top three.
Right.
So it's all love here in the power rankings. We made it through.
we're family. We stick together.
No time for bold predictions because
Well,
that already happened. Like the event already happened. So
I'm just gonna
we'll do that in the next podcast.
I'm just gonna say this really quick. We are trying something new right now. We are going to try to kind of move to a 2 podcast format where we're going to be doing one podcast after an event where we do our power rankings and have some topics to talk about, kind of like today's episode. And then now next week, you guys can expect another episode. We're trying to keep them to around an hour. We did a really good job today. We're at like an hour and 10 minutes right now. So next episode, we will be talking. I'm not sure exactly what our topics are going to be next episode. We haven't fully discussed them yet. But at the end of the episode, we are still going to be going over our predictions and stuff. And then the following episode after that will be another episode similar to this. It's just going to be something different. That way we can try to get an episode out for you guys every single week.
And the second episode is going to be more. I know, like in this podcast, usually going after events, we talk a lot about statistics and numbers and stuff like that. The next one's going to be more kind of about the storylines and stuff that's going on. That's not necessarily super match heavy.
Kind of like news. Kind of like news.
Just basically like the news. So like we'd elaborate, for instance, more on Prestinni benching himself and stuff like that, and what's going around behind the other teams.
Yeah, so there's just going to be a lot more swearing and a lot more hate going on in those episodes. So be sure to check those out.
Do we think so?
I mean, topic based, I definitely think so because it's all opinion, right?
That's true.
You guys argue with this.
Oh,
there's no
I felt a lot of hostility coming my way, and that's why I got.
But you guys
heated.
argue about this, and there's a lot of numbers and statistics and stuff
to back up our points.
Either side. The next one's just gonna be basically strictly opinion.
I mean, pretty good way to put it is his Tom Brady point, right? And me going off. That's all opinion, right? So it's like,
but we can agree that Ryan Tannehill is the best quarterback in the NFL.
All right, and that's gonna do it for our podcast today, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and YouTube. We'll see you guys later.